Welcome to Refirement Life, the podcast for anyone navigating life transitions or planning to make life transitions to ensure your next years are your best years. Listen in for insightful, generous, and sometimes humorous conversation. It's time to get fired up with Christine Zamuda and Muge Wood, your hosts for this latest episode of Refirement Life.
Welcome to episode 35, Thriving with Resolutions, or as we will discuss, intentions. What's the difference? How can you be more successful? I'm here with my fantabulous, how's that for a word?
That's a great way to start the year. That sounds good. It seems like a derivative of fantastic and fabulous. I'll take it.
It is. I just couldn't pick just one for you. You're just too amazing. You deserve two.
Oh, wow. I like it. I think we can end the episode here. And I would have said we accomplished our mission. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, this is that time of year where you reflect on the year gone by and think about what you want to experience, accomplish, maybe some little changes you want to make in your life. Well, if you're doing that, you're not alone. 40% of Americans make New Year's resolutions every year. And unfortunately, only about 8% of those actually achieve their New Year's resolutions. Roughly 80% of these resolutions fail by the second week in February. So it's not even, June. It's like, wow, not even 2 months later, most people have jumped off the bandwagon. And we've done some research for you all, our wonderful listeners, and have learned that there's also a difference between the resolutions that men and women make. If you look at the types of resolutions and intentions women are more likely to make, it's around health and relationships, and men often focus on career and financial goals. I thought that was kind of interesting, and wow, maybe if we got on the same page, you'd actually have a buddy who could help you get past February, right?
Maybe these are complementary. If they are executed together, they will give the full picture, but that is really interesting.
Yeah. So how about you, Muge? Have you been thinking about anything you want to do for the coming year differently?
I do. I think I wish it would be really healthy for me to say I want to eat ice cream more and have chocolate cake for breakfast. That's my resolution. Maybe sprinkle a little bit of that. But as I reflect on how to continue to invest in myself and get myself to a better version of me in incremental ways, I'm always thinking, and this year is no exception, on investment in wellness, physical, mental, making sure I'm doing things to invest in that in some shape and form. For me, a lot of it is fitness and exercise and playtime with community and friends. I will continue to keep up with that. And then really keeping a mindset of openness for opportunity and growth, embracing what life can provide with a more open mind, and say no a little more often to focus on the things that I really want to do, which is very, very hard to do. Saying no is no fun, but I want to get better at that for the right reasons. So those are a couple thoughts. The other thing, Christina, I was really taken over the holidays is I'm a big fan of chasing holiday lights. Anytime I see a holiday light display, I try to go, and Houston is a big city, so that's a lot of going and driving. And I had a chance to go see this magical winter lights production that one of my friends' company puts together, which is pretty fantastic. And then while we were there, we saw this wish tree that people write their wishes for the new year on a heart-shaped paper and hang it on the tree. And we started reading them, and it was a complete range of wishes, all of which I'm sure are important to the person who put it up there. it included things like be a good father, to I want a promotion and a SUV. So it was just amazing to see the range of wishes, and to see what matters, and be really inspired by them, and really, I think, appreciate that what we want may vary, but it all needs to be honored because it's what's important to us without judgment. So it was really kind of neat to see. And then another wish tree was at my Lifetime Fitness gym. And of course, when you put a wish tree in a gym, they tend to be more fitness oriented. So I've seen some things like I want better abs, I want to lose 100 pounds, etc. So it's kind of nice to see. But in all of this, it makes me wonder for myself and everyone else's, what's achievable.
Mm-hmm.
And how can we make our wishes come true in the new year?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that wish tree sounds great on a lot of fronts. I think especially for the one scenario where you said like likely families are going, kind of a bigger production, not the one in the gym necessarily, but just to see what your children are thinking about,
Right.
what's on their minds. And that's an interesting point of discussion or way of having a discussion with your younger ones.
Yes, it is true. I think depending on where one is at life stage, right, that kind of drives your wishes. And there were several on this wish tree that says, I want to get a good job, I want to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
And those are all awesome. But you're absolutely right. Where you're in life, in addition to gender, I think has some bearing on what you're wishing for.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about resolutions versus intentions. People get hung up on resolutions. I guess some of the reasons why they fail is they are not, in some cases, very, what we like to say in corporate America, smart, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, time bound. What's the R? The R is realistic, I think.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think people, get excited about the prospect and maybe put something out there that they haven't thought through the mechanics of how do you take it incrementally, step by step. So when you did some research on intentions, what did you learn about that?
That was interesting because for a long time, we are all about resolutions. And then recently, I came across some articles, including an episode in my favorite meditation app, Calm, about resolutions versus intentions. And I haven't really thought about that. We are always about resolutions, like you said, Christine, a specific goal by a certain time frame. And while specificity is good, it can also unleash a bit of an inner critic in us when we classify things good or bad and create this judgment and pressure. To achieve a certain milestone by a certain time. And if we don't, then we feel bad about ourselves, give up, and just not do anything. And when we look at the intentions way of approaching it, perhaps it's a little bit different where the starting point says you're already enough, you're already capable, and let's start from there to build upon where you want to go. It's a little less about very specific outcomes. It's more about thinking about how you want to feel, about what you want to achieve, and setting aside time to achieve that. So as an example, many of us may have a desire to increase our physical activity. So we may say, I want to go to the gym 6 times a week in the new year. Instead of saying that, maybe what we say is, I will allocate time on my calendar to make sure I have space to get in some physical activity. So a little gentler, compassionate way of looking at it. Sometimes we may have some doubt about that too. Is it too soft? Is it going to help us get to where we are? But I think to make things probably sustainable and consistent over time, maybe it's something to think about, and reading more about it and how we can approach it. the research says it is important to not only declare your intention, what you want to do, but also back it up with an affirmation and a mantra that you can go back to in more challenging times where you feel like you're struggling. So, as an example, there's one example I want to share how you do this. So, um, I think a lot of us probably are distracted, trying to multitask. So an intention could be, I intend to be more present. I want to be more present. I want to be more in the moment in the new year. And affirmation could be, I want to slow down. I want to take a breath. I want to increase my awareness about where I am. And being present will bring me power and goodness. So, it's not about, I want to be off social media 5 times during the day. I will have a free day, but looking at more a softer approach. And then the mantra is presence. Right. We are trying to achieve our presence, the single word that summarizes our desire for where we want to be, so that we can remember it more easily and kind of get back to the core. So, I think it's something interesting to think about and see if it drives us to our goals. Maybe it will take a little longer, but it may also be more sustainable.
Wow. Well, that's a great way to break it down. It's funny that you said presence and in a really positive way. As you described the scenario, I was thinking one word would be Bueller.
Right.
I was like the opposite, like comical, like, where is she? Come back to the conversation.
Right. There
But
you go.
yeah. No, however you get there, I think is important. There's also some research that shows, and this is tied into what you just said, a softer approach. Instead of saying I'm going to work out 6-7 days a week, you could say I am going to try and increase my activity 3 to 5 times a week. Right? Give yourself a little flexibility because things do happen, life happens. But giving yourself a range and still completing some portion of that range, you may be in a better place to keep to your commitment.
Yeah, it is really interesting, our mindsets and the power of that. So I was speaking to a nutritionist in 2023 to reduce my sugar intake and improve my diet. And that typically starts with the mindset, okay, I'm going to cut out all sweets. And then I'm going to do ABC. Well, it works for a week or two, and then I am back to ice cream, right? And she made a good point. She said, think about what you can add to your diet instead of what you can subtract. So, think about maybe you add 1 or 2 more vegetables or fruits. So just do not think about taking things out. Think about what you're going to put back in. And over time, one can take over the other, or at least change the balance and proportion of things. Because when we talk about what we are going to cut, I think it brings a mindset of pain, scarcity, pressure, and it's not fun, right? We don't like things being taken away from us. So even though we may still do some things, if we maybe think about what can we add to it towards where we want to go. By the way, I am nowhere in the mastery of this. It's still an ongoing journey. But I like the idea of what you can add to it as opposed to what you can subtract. And over time, once you experience the goodness it may bring to you in terms of how you feel, hopefully it turns into more of a practice.
Yeah, no, she sounds like a super smart lady, and I know people who have made changes in their diet over time will share with you, like, I don't even miss the sugar, right? I mean,
right.
I'm not that person, but I do hear people say that.
Right.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Yeah, for me this year, I'm pretty flexible with myself when I think about things I want to do. And I had something on the list last year, which I didn't get to do, but I'm going to do it actually in January, and that's go on a yoga retreat. So I think that's going to be super fun. And then the other thing that came into clarity for me is structuring my art practice a bit to provide more in terms of grants and opportunities to female artists who are emerging. So I'm in the process of setting up a not-for-profit arm, which will be called Equality for the Arts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'm excited about what that can bring over time, to try and make a dent in leveling the playing field for female artists. There's 54% of artists are women, and only 11 to 12% of art hanging in museums are by women. So, helping to bring some others along, I think is a worthy cause, and I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot along the way. So I've got that on the list. And the other thing, which is kind of quirky, is nothing I've ever done, and I don't even know if I can do it. We'll see. But I'm planning to do a silent meditation retreat.
Oh, wow, Christine, that would be a big challenge.
I know, because I run my mouth constantly. Like, how is
that
this going to
plus,
happen?
you give and receive your energy by being around people most of the time. So that would be a challenge. Having said that, maybe there will be an immense amount of discovery
Right.
about self. And wow. So have you signed up for this, or
I have
where are
not.
you
I've
at?
just started looking at certain places, and a friend of mine, actually two friends of mine, have done this. One more advanced and has done it many, many, many years. One who's done it probably the last 2 years. Really enjoyed the experience. Both signed up for doing this additional times. And I guess the deal is you're not 100% silent the whole time. There's like hours where you are silent, and you can ask the meditation teacher questions at certain intervals, but you're not encouraged to talk to anyone who's there with you. And that will be my problem, because I'm like,
Yeah. So where are you from? Why are you here? Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think I am really curious. I heard good things about silent meditation retreats. And I think it would be another frontier. I may find myself talking to myself more during that time, maybe.
Right.
I'm not really sure, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. I mean, that's pretty awesome, because equality in art and the yoga retreat you mentioned, as well as silent meditation, there's all element of newness and a bit of a challenge in them, which I think generally are good motivators. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that. As I reflect on the new year, I think overall new experiences, small and big, are good things that energize and feed the soul. So I also want to do things that are fun and achievable. So an example of that is like a champagne lunch with a friend I haven't seen in a while, maybe once a month. Make the time, and maybe it's a Friday. So I'm like, yeah, that's an intention or resolution I could get behind, and I can see myself achieving that. In the category of relationship investment. So those kinds of things I think could be good motivators as well. I have to tell you, I get overwhelmed when it is too many things all at the same time. So, all these advertising surrounding us, new year, new you, and let's reinvent you. So it's almost like there was something fundamentally wrong with you in 2023. And now we're going to fix all of that. And you're going to emerge as this new and different person nobody will recognize. And you're going to be so much better. It just seems like a lot.
A lot of
it just seems like a lot to take on. So I am more of an advocate for things that are close to our heart, that we do for ourselves, that we can inject an element of joy, and they can be small and incremental, as opposed to completely transformational. And I think small and incremental can add up to transformational over time if it is consistent. I am a believer in that. So that's what I'm going with. But I have to tell you, there's still a lot I need to accomplish accomplish. And whether you call it resolution, intention, affirmation, mantra, it still is a lot of work. So,
True.
yeah, so you need to, add an element of joy into all of this to make it, make it fun.
Yeah. Well, I love the idea of champagne lunch, and I wish we lived closer because I would totally sign up for that. But I think,
you can add a little bit of champagne to it. It really is an incentive. Actually, I'll go do that today with a friend who I haven't seen in a while. And I said, "Are we still on?" And he's like, "Yeah, who would say no to champagne on a Friday?"
right?
Yeah, I'm like, "Yes, you got that right."
Yeah. I think the other important thing that we see from setting intentions and resolutions is when you both write them down and you say them out loud in front of others, you have a better opportunity to succeed. And what I've found, which has been really, really helpful, is when I've put some things out there, you'll find that people know something about the goal, and they'll offer to help or give you more insight, or maybe even go along with you to experience what you want to experience. So that's something else just for our listeners. If you're serious about doing something new, share it with your friends, family, and see what comes of it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea because I think it makes it more real in a sense, but also it can help garner some support from people around you. So you feel supported in doing what it is that you're set out to do. Anything we take on, especially if it includes a degree of change, is not going to be easy. But if we are supported, even in small measures, by our partners, friends, family, coworkers, it just paves the path for progress and achievement just a little bit more. I completely agree with that. And again, a prime example of that for me is, there are some days I'm like, oh, I don't feel like, working out or going to the gym, etc. And my husband is like, no, I think we should go together. Let's just go do something. Or maybe someone texts me and says, so are you going to come to the tennis drill, where I am very much on the edge of not going. So those little nudges, I think, help. And of course, I am always invariably glad that I did it. So building a bit of a, I think, nudge network, it would be a very good thing.
I like that phrase, nudge network. I don't think we've heard that before.
Yeah, nudge network. It can't be too much pressure.
Right.
It's like a guilt trap, but a bit of a nudge, a check-in. Hey, are you coming? Where's it going? How are you? And that goes a long way with me. I'm like, well, wait a second. Maybe I should go. And a lot of times I agree to it, not for the activity, but to see the person.
Right.
So that creates the incentive. So one thing, Christine, a little bit related, but off topic, I'm curious about is, what do you think of these fitness devices like Apple Watch and those kinds of things? What do you think of them?
I'm probably one of the few people who runs from an Apple Watch. And I think it's because spending so much time in corporate America where you're attached to a screen, you're attached to the phone, I didn't want one more device. And I see, people buzzing. So you could put your phone away in your bag or your laptop bag, and it can just be there or in another room. But when you're wearing it, you're just looking at it. It's just, and it just annoys me. I know it's great for steps, but yeah, I'm just not, I'm not willing to go there.
Yeah, the reason I wanted to mention it is it's, I think, an example of do what works for you. So I think it's the same thing when we look at other people's stories, role models. They are good for inspiration and example of success, impact, achievement, etc. But we all have to do what works for us. So in my case, I used to be in that camp. I'm like, I certainly don't want the distraction on my wrist because it goes off when you get a text, when you get something through Instagram. But then I've come to really appreciate those activity rings. the goals that you set, your move, stand, and exercise time. It's on my wrist, and that really drives me. I think in a good way. I'm like, oh yeah, I have to close my moo ring. I am close. If I go for a walk around the block, I think I can do it. So it has been helpful for me, but I have to be intentional about not reacting to the alerts of messages that come through, and more use it from a fitness perspective.
That makes
in
sense.
terms of
And you can turn off the notifications, I'm
rings.
sure, right? I mean, you can tailor it to you, but.
And then my Apple Watch also has a mini face watch on it. So, it gives me a little, chuckle every day when I look down at my watch and I picture of the Minnie Mouse on there. A bit of a motivation and Disney magic that I carry with me on my wrist.
Nice. Well, that's good. That's good. Well, I mean, and if you're looking for health resolutions, which is one of the more common resolutions we make, that could be really, really useful, right? The other thing that we hear a lot is, focus on working out to feel good, not to feel thinner, and things actually, you'll likely have more success there. And to your point earlier is, get out there and do the activities that you love, and it won't feel like work.
That's very true. I think we all read about this too. If the physical activity is only for the purpose of losing weight, that becomes probably not so fun. And also, we may not see results right away because weight management is a complex thing. That's a result of a lot of different factors: diet, health, genetics, all of that. But it has, I think, immeasurable benefits in terms of mental state, overall level of fitness, the fun element. So I completely agree with that. It is, if it is done to feel good, as opposed to look good, I think it has a lot more benefits, not to mention a more positive impact and outlook. For me, community is very big. That's why always try to be part of a community, whether it's tennis, pickleball, a bar class, a cardio kickboxing class, because even if you don't know the people, you do a high five with somebody who is out there just like you, and moving and, making it happen. It's just uplifting,
Totally.
As opposed to, okay, I burned 200 calories and now I can have a small cookie and then feel bad if it turns into a piece of cake, and before you know it, you're in a downward spiral feeling bad. And I don't know if this is a complete generalization for everything in life, but sometimes if you let it go a bit and not try to manage it with such precision and judgment, maybe we can achieve our goals a little bit actually even better and faster.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. The other area that a lot of people make resolutions around is sharpening their finances. So getting on a budget, which is never fun. But
yes.
But I do have a great tool that I just love, and it's called Rocket Money. It's an app that you download and you line up all your credit cards so it like looks at what you're spending, and you decide as a customer what you're going to pay Rocket each month. So I think I pay him like $8, and it is so worth it. And as I think about some of the things that I see, like all your subscriptions, and if you have kids, the subscriptions they have on your card, so you can like be more aware of what you're spending, but they also will even cancel your subscriptions or renegotiate your Comcast bill, your Verizon bill. And I mean, I probably save like $500 to $600 a year easily just by like seeing things that I was like, whoa, what's this on the card that we didn't know, and they just make it super easy. So anyway, I think it's a good thing to look into, and it also just gives you awareness of where your spend is and what's happening and what buckets.
As in your spending is rocketing and it needs to be brought back down to earth.
Yeah.
So the Rocket Money, that's interesting because I know I can use some help with subscription management.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because we subscribe to things, whether it is subscription, streaming services, digital
Yep.
magazines, apps. I mean, they add up, and the clever thing about all these subscriptions is they go on till you cancel, and
Exactly.
you don't get an alert a lot of times that say,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, do you want to continue?" It's even better if you never notice that that is even going on. So I can
Mm-hmm.
totally see the value of that. Is this related by any chance to Rocket Mortgage?
So they bought the app, but
Okay.
the local, actually the company who made it is a local company to this area before they called it Rocket Money. I'm forgetting what the name
Hmm.
of it was before that. But yeah, it's now under the umbrella.
Under the umbrella. Okay.
Yeah, super easy to use.
Because I heard great things about Rocket Mortgage as well, how easy it
Yeah.
was, and it transformed the whole mortgage
Mm-hmm.
landscape, which could be pretty perilous at times and not fun. So
Yep.
I need to try that. I need some subscription management. I think it's a little
Mm-hmm.
bit out of hand. And we talk about adding things. This is probably a bit of negative ad constantly. Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to sign up for that. It's, I don't know, $5 a month. That doesn't sound like much.
Right.
But then it really truly adds up.
It really does. It really
Yep.
does. So, like along those lines of, buying with intention, of course, there's don't buy the things you don't need. And we all have been victim to this going to Costco or Target and wow, that looks cool. I didn't come in for that, but let me just shove it in my car in the last space that's available in my trunk.
Yes, that's exactly right. I think we also I'm also thinking a lot about the sustainability impact of all this consumption. Where
Mm,
does this stuff go?
mm-hmm.
How many more pairs of jeans do we need? How many more t-shirts? And where does this all go? In the end, it goes to a bunch of landfills. The other thing I'll say that's very interesting, I maybe that's a whole other topic, is how many more water bottles and tumblers do we need? Right, a new
Exactly.
brand keeps coming up, and now the latest craze is this Stanley Cup. And it's not enough to have this Stanley Cup, but you also have to have the different colors for of it. So people, are collecting colors, and now for February, right, Valentine's Day month, you want to have the pink and the red, and there's a run on these. So I mean, if that is what you are driven by to drink more water, I guess that's fine. But at some point we have to probably stop and think, how many more of something do we need?
Yeah, very true. And that's such a craze. My 10-year-old niece loves the Stanley Cups. And I said, "How much does this cost?" $50.
Yes.
$50. I'm
fifty
like, "You know
dollars
what you can
Yes.
get for $50? Let's go. Let me show
Yes.
you what you can get for
What would
$50."
happen if you invested that $50 in something?
Right.
But then I understand it also comes with some accessories to clean the straw and all this, and then the colors, beautiful, beautiful. I mean,
Hmm.
it looks appealing, etc. But then again, what are you going to do all this? And I'm sure there will be yet another version coming up. It was Hydro Flask and Yeti and etc.
Hmm.
So it is hard. I mean, I see the appeal of the color and the cup, but you have to think, right, at some point.
Yeah. And back to your point about the sustainability and recycling of clothes, I just found this pretty cool service that you buy their bags and then you send your clothes to them to recycle. So the bags cost $20. You send a full bag of clothes that you can't use, even like linens you can't use anymore, and they send you back in credit to your account $50 that you can spend at Amazon, at Lululemon, at all these, pretty well-known brands. So you're doing your part in recycling, you're getting rid of old clothes, and then you're, hopefully using that to fund a hobby or fund something, interesting for yourself. How this could actually help with the New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's just being intentional and thinking about, which I know is hard to do. And I read about the fashion stuff in particular. We probably all donate with good intent to Goodwill and other places, but eventually, I've seen pictures of all this clothing bundled in tons and getting shipped overseas in search of buyers who may make something out of this, and they're just landfills full of items that you don't know how to process after a certain point. So it's kind of interesting to think about. As our time winds down, Christine, any other thoughts we want to leave our listeners with? It's a lot to think about in terms of what we want to invest our time and energy in this new year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we covered the gamut, right? We talked about financial, we talked about health. You mentioned, being more present and mindful. One thing that I think we can all do and be great role models for is, leaving your phone in another room when you're home. I'm seeing this. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm watching a movie and I'm watching my phone. Like, why? Why?
I did that just last night. I drove my husband crazy. I'm in a group text with my friends from tennis. And he's like, what could possibly be so important at 10 p.m.? You are texting. And I am also very convinced that I am fully giving my attention to this crime drama. And then occasionally I'm like, hold on, what happened there? So we have to rewind. Obviously, I'm unable to do both things equally well at the same time.
That's right. There is no multitasking. So
no.
For all of us, and this was eye-opening for me, if you have an iPhone, I'm sure they have this on Android, etc. But you can go into your settings, and I think it's screen time, and you can look at how many times you picked up your phone, how many times you've been on social media. It will shock you. It shocked me. It shocked me into like, I need that time back. Right. So I've taken, and you have to tweak it a little bit. Like you have to make sure like email is not grouped into social, but I've limited myself to 90 minutes across LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And I've got, a couple business ventures on Instagram. So I have to be really smart about like, okay, what are you going to do? And you're going to do it now, and you're going to like be focused, and then you're going to get off this app so you can get your time back. So that's another thing just to think about in terms of being present and mindful.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I think in addition to very wordy and common resolutions we have around health and finances, letting go of multitasking, that would be really beautiful. That would be really beautiful. I think that is absolutely a way to be more present in the moment and give our attention to one thing at a time. No matter how smart, intelligent, capable we are just not capable of multitasking.
Right.
And it also kind of leaves you in a state of a frenzy, and you feel like you are mentally taxed when you're trying to do multiple things at the same time. That would be a good one to start small, and maybe there's one conference call you pay full attention to instead of answering the other email on the side and the text and the chat that we all tend to do. That would be a good one. That would be a good one.
Yeah, give your brain a break and show. I bet if you followed it, you'd show up a lot differently too, like with more impact and. So I think that's a great thing to think about and to follow. And when you are multitasking, I mean, the research shows that it takes you 15 minutes to reset. And the people who don't multitask, they find that they'll have, and I just saw the stat, so it's fresh in my mind, that they have 3.2 more hours in a day.
Imagine that.
Yeah, you can do a lot with that times 7.
Right? And the limiting the endless scrolling. That another cat picture and someone you haven't heard from in a while. All good, but just like everything, moderation.
Yep.
And it can just suck you in. The way we respond to incoming new things, we find that motivating. But then it can take a lot away from what you really could be doing. Very
Right.
true. So a lot of little small steps and experiments we can do.
Yes. Yeah. And pick one or two things. And as we mentioned, I think do them incrementally, share with your friends what you're trying to accomplish, build that support system. And then you'll see yourself in a whole nother place come to 2025.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. But let's try to mitigate that pressure, a sense of failure that may come upon us by February, March, and just totally give up. We are not giving up or giving in. We are marching forward with good intentions.
Yes, agree. So with that, we'll sign off. We would love your support. If you liked what you heard today, please give us a review on the podcast player of your choice. We have just started planning our next year of guests, and it's very exciting. So hopefully you will stay with us and just enjoy what's coming.
Awesome. Bye for now.
Take care.
Thank you for listening. Our hope is to spark a little joy, inspire, and educate our listeners in ways to live an even more meaningful life. If you have reactions to share from what you've heard, please visit our website, refirement.life, to leave a voice message. You may even be featured in a future episode. To keep in touch, subscribe to our podcast, Refirement Life, using the podcast player of your choice. Always remember, you are never too old to set a new goal or to dream a new dream. Thanks again for joining us on this episode. Until next time.